name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me today, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of any reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Everybody raise your right hand. Your other right hand. It's going to be like that. Solemnly swear affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Jessica Arcarola. Morning, young lady. What's your date of birth?
July 20th, 1994.
Jessica, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State, what can you tell me?
This is all I'm showing, Your Honor.
Okay. And Jessica, I have an address for you on Spring Haven Loop. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
About a year and a half.
Okay. And you no longer live with Mr. Burgess, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm a home health aide.
Okay. All right. Jessica, I'm going to set your bond at $10. Normally, in a case like this, I'd order you not to have contact, but you guys have children in common, and he's here too. So I'm going to order peaceful contact between you two. I'm going to treat him the same as I'm treating you. You guys don't have to have contact, but if you do have contact, it has to be contact that can be described as peaceful. The allegations from yesterday, of course, there was nothing peaceful about that. So going forward, the contact has to be peaceful. If you have contact that can't be described as peaceful, and I find out about it, one or both of you could wind up back in jail without bond. So whatever has motivated you in the past to try to get along, the answer now is if you guys don't get along until we get these cases resolved, somebody or both of you could be in jail without bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm going to have you back in court on December 19th. When you get out, make sure you contact the Public Defender's Office right away, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Louis Burgess. Morning, Louis. What's your date of birth?
June 18th, 1986.
Sure. Louis, your charge is simple assault, being domestic in nature. There's probable cause. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'll take public defender.
I'll point the PD. State.
Showing a failure to appear on Hernando County in 2013, adjudicated guilty on felony battery in 2006, adjudicated guilty of burglary of a dwelling in 2006. Those are also out of Hernando County, and he's showing as a single source offender.
Okay. And Louis, I have an address for you on Breakwater Boulevard. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Well, back and forth, I'd say for 25 years.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I do tree service right now.
Okay. Louis, I'm going to do the same thing that I just did with Jessica. $10 is your bond, and the condition is that if you have contact, it has to be peaceful contact. Were you listening when I explained to her what that all meant?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that if I hear about any fussing or fighting, you can wind up back in jail without bond. You're clear on that?
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Very good. I have you back in court on the 19th of December. Make sure you check with the Public Defender's Office as soon as you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Angel Mills, income. Morning, Ms. Mills. What's your date of birth?
11/17/89.
Ms. Mills, I have 5 charges this morning. I have an aggravated assault, an armed burglar of a dwelling, and 3 counts of misdemeanor battery. There's probable cause for all those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Looks like she has an open case from October 12th of this year out of Hillsborough for possession of cannabis and resisting an officer without violence and disorderly conduct. Adjudication in 2016 for unauthorized use of a credit card. Adjudicated guilty for petty theft. First offense out of Hillsborough 2016. Adjudicated guilty 2014. Trespass out of Hillsborough. Probation violation in 2013 out of Hillsborough. Guilty disposition 2011, delivery of cannabis out of Hillsborough. Guilty disposition 2011, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon out of Hillsborough. Probation violation in 2009. I'm not showing what the underlying offense is for that, and she's showing as a single source offender.
All right. Ms. Mills, I have an address to you on Aspen Avenue in Temple Terrace. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
About 5 years.
Do you have a job these days?
I do hair and lawn care. Lawn service.
Okay. You'll leave your bonds per the schedule, which is $2,000 on the assault, $25,000 on the burglary, and $1,000 on each of the batteries. That's a total of $5,000, or $30,000, excuse me. Condition of that bond is that you'll have no contact with Angela Abadesa, Kelsey Dixon, or Denick Rodriguez. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't go where any of them work. You don't go where any of them live. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting them, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact with them and I find out about it, your bonds will be revoked and you'll be held without bond. We'll have you back in court on the 21st of December. Very important that you contact the public defender if you're able to get out, all right?
So what the total bond is?
$30,000.
All right.
Thank you. Robin Payne. Morning, Robin. What's your date of birth?
July 7th, 1972.
All right. And Robin, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Appointed public defender.
Appoint the PD, State.
Your Honor, I'm showing a history for Robin LaGrace Strickland, but there is the same birthday and same social security number.
Right.
It's showing as a single source offender, and I'm showing a withhold of adjudication of cannabis from 1995 and a grand theft withhold from 1995.
Okay. And Robin, I have an address for you now on Mullins Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
4 years.
And you have a job these days?
No, sir. I just got out of chicken house last week.
Okay. And Lacey doesn't live with you anymore, right?
No, sir. She never has.
Okay. All right. Same thing. I'm going to set your bond at $10. Condition of the bond is that if you have contact, and I'm not saying that you have to, the contact has to be described as peaceful. Obviously, what allegedly happened yesterday can't be described as peaceful, anything like that. And you or Lacey or both of you could wind up back in jail without bond. I'm sure you heard me explain this to Jessica and Lewis earlier. Do you understand all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to have you back in court on the 19th of December. Make sure you contact the PD when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Lacey Strickland. Morning, Lacey. What's your date of birth?
3/14/90.
Lacey, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Your Honor, I'm showing an action was dropped in 2015 for battery out of Hernando, and she was just on PTI for criminal mischief. I did have probation check this morning, and it looks like that was closed out. Our system is still showing open, so we might just have some paperwork there. And that's all I'm showing, single source offender.
Okay, Lacey, I have an address for you now on Northwest Avenue in Webster. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
3 years.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I stopped grinding Dollar General.
Okay. Same thing, we can set your bond at the $10. If you have contact with Robin, it'll be peaceful contact. You understand all that? You've heard it 3 times now, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you back in court on the 19th of December. Make sure you contact the public defender when you get out, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Christian Treadway. Christian, what's your date of birth?
12/25/84.
All right, Christian, the charge is retail theft. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'd like to send her.
I'll appoint the PD state.
Your Honor, this is all I'm showing in-state, out-of-state. It looks like out of West Virginia. There's a guilty disposition for disorderly conduct in 2011, guilty disposition, disorderly conduct 2009, guilty disposition, worthless check 2005.
And Christian, where you been staying lately? You been staying with somebody or living outdoors? What's the story?
In my car.
Say again?
In my car?
In your car, okay. Do you have a job these days?
I work day labor.
Okay. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance today. That means they're going to let you out, but you've got to be back in court on the 19th of December. You should contact the public defender when you get out, and you must be in court on the 19th of December. I'll be the judge on your case. Do not make me regret giving you an ROR. Be there on the 19th, okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Dalton Steele. Wanted, sir, what's your date of birth?
10/13/92.
Dalton, the charge is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Your public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
This is all I'm showing, Your Honor, single source offenders.
All right. Dalton, I have an address for you on Bob White Drive in Homosassa. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
That house, like 8 years.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Man at Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $500, so I'll have you back in court on the 21st of December. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jonathan Montanez.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Good, good, Jonathan. What's your date of birth?
2/11/89, sir.
All right, Jonathan, you're here on a writ to bodily attachment. That means a child support hearing officer and a circuit judge determined that you owe some child support. They set a cash purge of $192. Is that an amount of money you can pay today, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. No problem, sir.
Okay, you're going to get that to the jail. I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. I'll find you in contempt for not paying child support and send you to 10 days in the county jail. The way you not do the 10 days is to get $192 to the jail today, all right?
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, very good.
I have a question, sir.
Sure.
I have another case.
Right? I think you paid the purge on that already, right?
Oh, it's already paid? Okay,
Already
then
paid
okay,
it.
okay.
The show's paid.
One more question, Your Honor.
Sure.
I'm sorry I'm bothering you.
No, you're all right.
I'm on a probation. I'm doing pretty well on it. Would that violate me?
This should not. This is not criminal in any way.
Okay, I appreciate it. Have a great day, sir.
You too. Richard Johnson.
Permission to come aboard.
Wanted, sir, what's your date of birth?
My granted permission to come aboard.
What's your date of birth?
8/10/45.
Richard, I have a warrant for you out of the state of Michigan. Your options this morning are this. You're entitled to have an extradition hearing with regard to that warrant. If you'd like, what the point of the extradition hearing would be is to determine if you're the right Richard Johnson, if the state of Michigan actually has an active warrant for you. That process can take up to 60 days. Once that is done and we determine if we determine you are the right person and they do have a warrant, then Michigan would have 15 days from that point to come and get you. While you're waiting for that hearing, you would stay right where you are, which is in the Hernando County Jail. You can waive your right to that hearing this morning if you wish. If you waive your right to that hearing, Michigan will be notified immediately and told they have to make arrangements to come and get you. So what I need to hear from you now is, would you like an extradition hearing, or would you like to waive the right to that hearing and put Michigan on the clock right now?
Waive the right.
Very good. They'll have a form for you to sign. Michigan will be notified immediately this morning, Richard, and told they have 15 days to come get you. If you're still here in 15 days, they'll bring you back to see me, and I'll find out what the problem is, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else at the jail?
No, sir, we have nothing.
Very good. Thank you very much.